Hello and welcome to this week's look at the world of action and stunts on film and television. And we are going back to television for a change. It was a TV movie, but it is a TV movie which was made in 1987, directed by stuntman, director, actor, author Ray Austin, of course, very famous with the Avengers, if you remember that, and went on to direct everything. What did he do? What did he not do was probably simpler. He did loads of episodes of Heart to Heart. He did Magnum. He did Murder, She Wrote. You name it, he'd done it. So it's directed by him, and it is a coming together of the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman. There's been a number of these over the years. I've only seen one other. As far as money's concerned, this cost about $4 million to make, which, all things considered, for television back then, that was actually quite expensive. This is long before episodes of Friends were costing double that per hour, and each member of the cast was getting $1 million. So, it's before then, but it's still a great deal of money. So on the strength of that, that's what we've got. Stunts are by ALAN GIBBS, the great ALAN GIBBS. Wasn't long after this that he sadly passed away. He was working on Shakedown, if you remember, with Jack Gill brought in as his assistant coordinator who took over. And so he was only 46, 47 when he died. It was very young, died of cancer. This was done in the 87. So he's brought in a bunch of folk. And I think what happens here, and what's really, really evident, is that the script, the general plot and the script, is a bit ropey. Which then asks the question, how on earth did it get to the green light stage where they went, well, we'll just go ahead with it? Because the dialogue in this is really difficult. There are conversations happening between people. There are phrases being said. It's not an 87 script. I've got a feeling that it's a script probably that was done early 70s, mid 70s even. Maybe when the show was being the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman had their shows running independently. So I suspect that there may well be an idea of taking a bit of that, and putting the two together. And the script is really complicated. It's just not easy. However, what clearly has happened is that I would like to think that Ray and ALAN GIBBS, they've looked at the thing and thought, do you know what? I think we'll just litter this with really good action scenes and kind of fill it out. And that's what they've done. They've put a whole bunch of bits and pieces into it. So why don't we have a look? And it goes like this. So here we are with the return of the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman. Not a title I thought I'd be saying when I started doing all this. Directed by Ray Austin. Nice, good title page for him. Here's a moment here at the start where they're not really getting on, and she chucks him out through the window. There's a lot of this going on. This is good old-fashioned stuff. A couple of cameras running on it, one on the floor and one just over the other side. And she went, now look, you've made me do. Oh, dear. Lee not getting out of his Fall Guy moment there. Some lovely moments. He'd done a lot of that. Great car chase, this as well. A couple of nice moments. With all these car chases, look, they're doing about 25 miles an hour. And it comes down to the far end. There's a couple of obstacles to get out of the way. He's got to go. We'll talk about the driver later, if we may, because he'll crop up later on. Onto the pavement. All NDs on the pavement, trying to get out of the way. Car slides around the corner. Onto here. This is towards the marina and a jetty. And again, good old-fashioned station wagon being chucked about. Boat show, that was the sign. He's going towards the boat show, and as he turns in, there is a car transporter. What this guy's think he's doing, look, bang. So he's blown the entire windscreen out. When you cut back to Lee Majors, I'm not sure there's a great deal of damage gone on. Well, no, evidently not. Up the back here, this is, I believe this to be Rick Avery. Just looking at what the members of the stunt team are doing. Up in the air, nice big sail over the top. He's going to land fairly flat when he comes down. Ooh! And there is a camera inside that, but they never use that camera position. And the driver in the other car is being told, don't do it. And he pulls up. Now, let's talk about these bionic jumps, because I think these are brilliant. Here's the example. So he's out of his car. He sees that she's at gunpoint in there. And he thinks, right, they start to drive off. What does he do? Well, he gets in his car and oh, no, he doesn't. No, he runs after them bionically with his mullet flapping in the wind. So, but you've got to do it in slow-mo. You've got to do it in slow motion with the sound effects. And it just looks like he's never going to make it because he's running really slowly. That's what it appears in my brain. I appreciate that the purpose of this is to accentuate the fact that he's running really, really quickly. So he's trying to cut the car off. I know, I'll go this way. Go in straight lines, go left. You can do that with a lot of American streets. Having spent some time in LA fairly recently, you cannot get lost. He's on one side of the road. He's looking at the building on the opposite side of the road. Again, physics not an issue here. Jumps up, goes up the building and tucks then for the little landing at the top. Now, again, I'm just going to play it backwards so that we see what is being created. He stands on the top and drops down and then just starts to lift his knees as he comes back down into the boxes. So that's the idea. This is the one that gets me more than anything else. He's seen the car turn. He says, right, I'm going to jump. And he leaps. And it's a great fall. But then this happens where the editor doesn't cut away. And he's turning for the landing. Why? Because he's going to land on all fours when he gets to the top of the car. Oh, my God. It's infuriating why the editor didn't go early. Now, sliding down the bonnet, Lee Majors is being doubled. And this is the guy who's doubling him. We finally get a chance to see some of his face. That is Bobby Burns on this particular occasion. Bobby is the guy who's doing the action for Lee. She gets out of the car the other side, and this is where this little technical bit comes in. He grabs the car, and there is a wire. It's a wire gag, and I'm just going to come round here to the right-hand side of the car. Look at the right-hand side of the car there. Can you see just to the left of that sign? There's the cable. There's the wire. So there's a wire pulling in two directions, one on the maybe one at both ends of the car and one at the other side, and they're pulling it and they're spinning it round, and it's a visual effect, and I think it's really, really very good. It's special effect done real in camera. When in doubt with a lot of these things, if it's running slow, well, get a bar brawl in you. That's what you want. And there's plenty going on here. This boy goes out through the window. That's Steve Austin's son, by the way. We'll crop up with him later. So there's all manner of bits and pieces going on. That's Matt Burham. He's playing a character in the picture. He's also a stuntman. A couple of lovely punches knocking about here. We will have a look at one that I'm not so certain about, but he's not a bad actor either, this guy. So very clearly he's got a number of speaking parts. There's all manner of, look, there's stuff going on, foreground, background, bosh, and he delivers a couple of lovely punches. This one, on the other hand, you decide. Let's have a look, shall we? Is it a hit or is it a miss? I would say that is probably a big fat miss. He's missed that by about 6 yards and still got a great reaction on it. Bang! Gets down there, landing on Richard Epper. When in doubt, let the star land on top of you. Always guaranteed to get you some extra money. I think that's very important. Look after the main man, because if he's not working, then it means you've got an awful lot to do with second unit stuff, and indeed with the main stunt double, and you can't guarantee that the whole time. He chucks that bloke there. Ooh, straight through the table. And this one over here, this is Andy Gill. From 1987. This is bang, landing on the floor there. Oh dear. Little bit of strange dialogue. Hi, how are you? Great to meet you. And then your man comes back and pulls him out of a shot. And again, big punches, big telegraph ones. So as bar brawls go, there's he's popular. Look, hello. He only came in for a drink. Blimey. done very well there. So yeah, good old-fashioned stuff. And then again, this guy trying to leave. Oh, hello, officer. Do you fancy having a drink? Maybe. Oh, never mind. And then gets walked off. Look, it's Bryan Cranston in one of his early performances, doing the very best he has with yet more ropey dialogue. Bionic jumps. There's a bunch of bits and pieces here from him and from Lindsey. Look, big jump down here. And behind, it's a hidden one, so he's going behind there, and then that's a separate shot of Lee, presumably jumping off a ladder. That's Rita Eggleston. She's been Lindsey Wagner's double for many, many years on the show. And I say Lindsey's probably jumped off that very small box just there. But she comes through this wall, bang, through there like that. And keeping out of shot, he's the driver from earlier. We'll get a better shot of him in just a moment, because that is Bob Hoy, who's the stuntman, and gets caught with a left hand. Lovely, thank you very much. Nice punch too. Well done, sir. Nicely delivered. And again, jumps over the frame. That'll be Rita, because Lindsey doesn't need to do any of that. More jumping. Bobby Burns jumping down on top of these two here. Bosh, thank you very much. And trying to keep himself out of trouble. This is quite nice as well, because landing right on his knees. You see the pads on his knees there. But look at this bullet hit. As reaction shots go, this is absolutely remarkable. Bang! And look at him. What's he doing there? That's absolutely extraordinary. A couple of nice explosions in this as well. They're on the timer. One, bosh. Big explosion right there. And when the big bang goes off, this is right on top of these guys. They're gelled up, just in case there's any fragmentation, any of that coming along. They've got all of that going. So they're covered up nicely. Cooling gel to prevent them from burning. And another big explosion which blows out the windows, and these guys flying about left, right and centre. All in all, it's actually quite fun, I will say. This is Marco Paul, who's a sort of utility stunt guy here, and he gets lifted out of shot and ends up right against the wall over there. And there's the sun. They walk off. Here's the final big jump, really. Andy Gill and Richard Epper again. Andy in a very fetching moustache here. This is the sun. Big jump and straight into like a seat drop, I suppose, into a little rig there. And then gets cuffed and chucked. And where he ends up, get a shot like that. He goes all the way up to the top and goes right over the pavers at the top. And a nice big jump for the Bionic Woman. And again, just so you understand, let's run it backwards. Take a look at it. She steps off. She jumps down. And then as she gets slightly lower down, she's going to maybe just correct her positioning so she lands in a seat drop in the bag. That is great fun. Enjoyed that. Get a chance to have a look at it. Why don't you? There you go. That was... and I came across this pretty much by accident, right? That wasn't my intention of doing this show. However, I looked at it and I was kind of hooked because the action scenes come thick and fast. I knew there would be the leaping up to the top of the building or the leaping down from the top of the building. That's always in every episode, regardless. And there's a couple of nice bits and pieces. And of course, you know, the car gag when he's flipping the car over. Well, you just see the wire. And again, it's... if you're not looking for it, you won't see it. But I can't help myself, so I'm looking for the wire. But if you're not looking for it, it kind of works. You know, that whole thing is on a spindle, and it boom, and it flips over as he throws the car up. It goes boom, 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 and flips over. You can just see that wire doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and I suspect there might be one this side, but it's just out of shot because they're filming it at the slightest angle. So that kind of works. So they're very nice little touches that they've thrown in. The jumping, of course. That moment where he's jumping, so he's following the car that Jamie's been thrown into. The Bionic Woman is thrown into a car, and he gets, instead of driving after it, he gets out of his car, slams the door, and runs after it. But of course, it's bionics, so in order to show how fast he's running, you've got to do it in slow motion. Oh wow! It's really, my brain was mushy by the end of it. I'm trying to understand. Of course, nowadays. And then later on, there's a sequence with his son If you ever get a chance to see the movie, I'm not saying go and see the movie. I'm just saying if you happen to come across it, it's on YouTube, go and check it out. But if you do happen to see it, his son, I'm not going to give the game away, but something happens to his son. He has bionics as well. And consequently, his bionics are hugely upgraded from Steve's and from Jamie's. So he can run much, much faster than everybody else. But in order to show that, they actually have him running really quickly. You know, like the running in Superman, the movie, when he's running next to the train. It's not a million miles away from that. Little bit of visual effects to try and create a sort of haze around him. But it's more or less that. I'm thinking, well, why didn't you do that with the original one? Why didn't you do that with the bionics in the first place? Anyway. And also, there are some lovely moments where when people, and I didn't realise this until I looked a bit more closely, but there's a couple of great bits and pieces on YouTube regarding what's referred to as goofs on $6 Million Man, and all those moments where they jump up in the air, they do the jump, but then they've got to come down and land in frame, right? So the cameras are locked off shot and they've got to drop into frame. And there are a couple of occasions where if you look just to the left of frame, you'll see a ladder. And just a mini ladder, like a step ladder, maybe 3 steps, and they're standing partway up and they jump and go bump, land into scene in slow-mo, but they've not taken the ladder out. So that's quite nice. Little moments like that I think are really good. And I think that's why this works, because they're doing it in camera. They're not deciding to throw huge quantities of special effects at it. They're throwing it in camera. Let's do it much as we can, and let's kind of let the action speak for itself, which is what it does. So I hope you have enjoyed that. I say, if you want to check it out, it's on YouTube in all its glory. The return of the $6 Million Man, and the Bionic Woman. Incidentally, there were a number of not press junkets, but Comic Cons where Lee Majors had gone to these things and had reported a $6 billion Man production starring Mark Wahlberg. Anybody know anything about that? Drop some notes in the comments if you're aware of it, and maybe we can try and chase it up, because I did see some photographs, or maybe, I don't know whether they were mock-ups or not, but they were clearly evidently photographs of Mark Wahlberg doing something bionic-y. Now, I don't know whether that ever got to fruition at all, whether it got past the developmental stage. I don't know. We'll find out. But if you know anything about that, leave a note in the comments. That's us for this week. Next week, back for more of the same. Don't forget to subscribe to this and to the podcast. And, well, that's about the size of it. Until next time, it's bye for now.